the sliding doors on the elevator I was in broke open, and I sort of dived into the bathroom under the bathroom sink where I spent the rest of the night.
The Category 5 storm ripped through with 270 km/h winds. This is the strongest storm to hit Vanuatu in 3 decades. The Arizona funeral will be held in about an hour in Ottawa for Sergeant Andrew Douarin. He was accidentally shot by Kurdish forces in northern Iraq just over a week ago. Here's the CBC's Susan Lund.
As the country prepares to bury its first soldier to be killed in the Iraq conflict, Defense Minister Jason Kenney says he hasn't decided if the rest of the Canadian soldiers there will remain after the end of the month. But Kenney says Canada remains committed to working with the Kurds to stop ISIS.
We should not let one tragic error derail the critically important military operation.
NDP MP Paul Dewar says the questions around Bourneau's death show the government needs to be more transparent if the mission is extended.
Our colleagues in the States and the UK are not going to the front lines or as close to the front lines as we are. It really is based, the question is, what is this mandate, what is the mission about?
Susan Lund, CBC News, Ottawa.
Protests are planned today across Canada against the government's proposed anti-terror bill. Bill C-51, as it's called, would give authorities, including CSIS, broader powers to deal with terror threats. Critics, however, say the bill would infringe on civil liberties and the right to privacy. Well, he's been leader of the Catholic Church for 2 years now, but Pope Francis believes his papacy will be brief, perhaps only 4 or 5 years. Shortly after making the comment, the Pope announced the Vatican will hold a Holy Year on the theme of mercy. Megan Williams has more.
The Pope's announcement of an extraordinary Holy Year, an event usually held every 25 or even 50 years, seems like another push from Francis to renew the Church as quickly as possible. The Holy Year's theme of mercy and compassion reflects the main thrust of his message since assuming leadership of the Church 2 years ago. The event will begin on December 8th and is expected to draw millions to Rome for 2016. Many, no doubt, drawn to the Vatican to witness a Pope who doesn't expect to be there for long. Megan Williams, CBC News, Rome.
And lastly, to London. You could call this an ironic twist of history. Today the statue of Mahatma Gandhi was unveiled in Britain's Parliament Square. India's independence leader will stand near many British leaders, including Winston Churchill, who fought to keep the British Empire intact. British Prime Minister David Cameron was at today's unveiling.
The image of Gandhi we see today is based on a picture of him on the steps of Downing Street in 1931. On that same visit, we also went to see King George V, arriving bare-chested in his dhoti and marching ahead with his stick. Gandhi was asked if he felt underdressed, and he replied, "The king is dressed for both."
Gandhi's statue is placed close to monuments of former U.S. President Abraham Lincoln and South African President Nelson Mandela. And that is the CBC News to this hour. I'm Pepto.